So you are Jennifer Klaus.
Yes.
Is that right? Klaus?
Yes.
Klausy? Klaus?
Klaus.
Klaus.
And I'm
Okay.
Jessica Walker. It's good to meet you. You too.
Tim Davis.
Hi, Susan Long.
Susan.
How are you?
I am well.
Okay, so you're our first one this morning, so let's just go ahead and dive in.
Okay.
Do we have that list, guys, of what district Ms. Klaus is in?
I don't think we have districts on this one.
No, we don't.
Yeah, I do. I've got it.
It's not your problem, it's our problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give us
Hannah,
some-
do you have that?
It just says group representatives, so no districts on this one. Okay, we will find our.
Oh, wait, I've got it right here.
Midwest Temple.
I've got the
Will that be
district.
District 4?
I've got it right here.
There are no district requirements. for
Oh,
this.
okay, okay, good. Then we won't worry about that.
Oh, right.
But we did have representative requirements. So if you represented a specific category.
Right. So, Ms. Klaus, we have,
Right.
we basically have 3 questions we're gonna ask you. And really what happens typically is as you answer question 1, you sort of answer question 2 and 3 also. So let's just have a conversation,
All right.
okay? Nothing to be nervous about.
Informal.
Just, yeah, very informal. So first off, tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're interested in serving on the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Commission.
Well, a little bit about myself. Been in the Temple area for about, let's say, I think 12 years. It's been a while now.
Okay.
And been working for a McLean company for 8 years. My roles have evolved there from an action compliance down to diversity, equity, and inclusion manager for the organization.
Oh, wow.
Our first, I'm happy to say, have helped jumpstart that with the executive buy-in to put in a formal program in place for the organization, as large as we are. And
And how long have you served in that role?
I've served in that role for a year.
Okay,
We are just now kicking off our formal DEI comprehensive
okay,
inclusion plan and putting our council in place right now, actually, which is comprised of our senior leaders
sure.
and
So
operation leaders.
The council that you're putting in place is all from people who work for McLean
Yes.
presently.
They're our leadership.
Yes.
Yeah.
What is the population of complaints?
We have about 22,000 teammates across the company.
Wow.
Yeah. And we have here in Temple, of course, is our corporate office is where I'm housed. And with the corporate people team, which supports, the organization. And some other stuff about myself. I mean, I gather we can get into family details. I have my family here. I have my 18-year-old daughter, my husband, our 2 dogs, typical.
Yeah.
Little family life. Little bit of other things about myself. DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's something that is very passionate for me as someone living with a disability, as a person of color, and also a female. The intersectionality of my identity certainly come in play throughout all of my life that I've experienced, in my life experience. And I certainly have that to offer the commission, and also from an employer perspective and what that looks like. Because systemically, the workplace is just one piece of it. When you're thinking about something, you have to think about the community as well, as you all know. And, so that's really why I want to be on the council. Temple's my home. And just really being able to make impact here in any way that I can. I'm doing that at my workplace and to be able to carry that out into the community. And I think as we move forward, McLean, as we move forward in our DEI efforts, we certainly will be looking at ways to partner with the community as well, because it really is, you have to take that approach. It's a systemic approach that you have to take to it. So.
Okay. So again, you've kind of already answered this. The next question is, what skills, talent, or experience do you think you would bring to this position?
Well, my former role is DEI manager for McLean. I also sit on the governor's rehabilitation council. I was appointed to that last year for people with disabilities. It serves as an advisory role really for vocational rehab homes, which is very important to me. During my college years, I was a VR consumer. So I had that perspective, and also from an employer perspective. But also just really, and also in my past life, that I think could really add value to this role is my work in workforce development. I have worked in, let me think, Round Rock, Rural Capital, Coastal Bend, High Plains, 3 different workforce development board areas throughout the state. Very familiar. I was a case manager and also a program manager there, which really set the pathway for my current job. And just bringing that wealth of knowledge, it's very broad, my knowledge, and being able to bring that is important. I think that workforce has a very pivotal role in bringing equity to workforce initiatives. So I think I bring that value as well,
Do you
from
think
that
that-
perspective.
This is just a general question. Do you think that the workforce in general is becoming more accepting of those people that are impacted by DEI?
And I think, you mean from an employer perspective?
Mhm.
I think it's always, I'm not gonna say that, what was the word you used? That they're more,
Yeah, are they more open to, to working with, those folks again, with different races, different disabilities,
Oh.
different, sexual preferences, et cetera?
oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it really depends in your large employers, I mean, you cannot,
Yeah, you have.
you have to discriminate against, And I will say though, where you see the disconnect is in your leadership levels.
Mm.
You can have, in like essential roles, for example, majority minority population.
Mhm.
But when you go up to the higher levels, I mean, that's where it's disparate impact there. You're not
It's the
seeing
white male.
that move up.
Yeah.
So that's really where the work needs to be, and that's across the board. It's across industry, it's across the board. Really, and that's really where we're gonna make our mark at McLean, is doing more effort in that space. So, that's just from our take. And that, like I said, that's gonna be I'd be surprised. That's gonna be every company you talk to. That's where, and I think you've heard that probably on the news, in the public sphere. That's where the gaps are a lot of the time. And then, of course, when you're looking at other identities like LGBTQ+, those are efforts that, some companies are more forward-thinking or more progressive in that space. It's just getting to that. I think that's new kind of where companies can really make ground in that space as well. And just working more on their equity initiatives.
Mhm.
So equity's become, it's been there, but it's really become more of like in my title, for example, you used to see just diversity and inclusion managers. Now it's diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's really become the trend, I guess. you could say.
What would you like to accomplish as a board member?
I'd like to accomplish just being able to make some impact in helping the council, helping the committee, in whatever way we can to really help. Where we see our gaps as a city, what can we do, to better position the city, to see growth, to see all of that. And that's really where I just want to be able to help make an impact collectively.
Well, one thing I want to assure all board members, whoever is chosen for this board, is we as council and executive staff of the city is taking this very seriously. The city has been interviewing and may have already hired. I know they were working. They had a candidate and they were doing the background check before making an offer for a diversity, equity, and inclusion manager. So this isn't something that the city of Temple's simply
Oh, I
giving
know.
lip service to. And if you're familiar with the city, all of our top managers are female.
Mhm.
So, it's so that, that kind of, as you talk about, management in the city of Temple is not sort of the typical,
What you would see.
yeah,
Mhm.
is that what that's how you say it nicely, sit back and call it, just what you normally
What
see
you
is
typically
not
see.
what you see in the city. of
Yeah.
Temple. So, very interesting. What, do you have any questions for us?
How long will you all be interviewing?
So, so we are interviewing for 16 boards total.
Oh, okay.
So we're interviewing today 9 to 1. So we have a number of candidates, probably 8 or 10 candidates to interview. And then, but ultimately, we're doing 16 full boards. And then we have to go through, the council will then choose those folks based on these interviews as to who we're going to ask to serve on those boards. So realistically, you probably won't hear from the city for probably 2 to 3 weeks at least.
Okay.
So, it'll be a little bit.
All right. Yeah, I remember reading that it was September that it would formally
That's a good question.
convene the council. Is it?
Is this
I thought it was.
I think it's April. I mean, I think it's
Yeah.
May.
Oh, that's how it was. I thought I read. I was like,
Well, there's
wow, this is
another-
soon.
Some boards are staggered with
Yeah.
beginning times or position times, some in May and some in September.
Yeah.
So that's where you got September.
Oh, okay. That's probably right.
This is a September board.
It is, but I think our goal is to go ahead and appoint everybody now. And if you're a September appointment, we'll reappoint you again in September. This won't count against your term. We just
Okay.
want to get the boards up and running and going.
Okay.
With the official appointment time. will be
Did you come to Temple with the Workforce Commission? Is that what brought you to Temple?
No, my mom had a business and I came to assist her with that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What business was that?
It was a job source. It was helping people with disabilities
Oh,
find employment.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I have a lot of experience in the space.
Yeah, and when you came in, you look really familiar to me. I can't place you.
I have one of those faces and
We've seen you at HEB.
probably, I'm into maybe some of the meetings, I don't know,
Yeah, maybe so.
maybe so.
Okay.
I'm just thinking any other questions I may have. I know that the city's gonna be starting their DEI department soon, as you mentioned.
I've got a question. I got another question. We got about 2 or 3 minutes
Yeah.
left. So whenever you came to McLean's, there was no DEI process, no board, no nothing. How long did McLean's take sort of formulating your plan moving forward?
It took a while.
More than a year?
McLean's 125 years old. But I initially came on as someone to start up their disability program. So they were very open to, inclusion of people with disabilities,
Sure.
which is great.
Right.
So it's taken some probably 3 or 4 years
Wow.
of me pushing, and then we've had a change in leadership. We have a new CEO now. I don't know if you know. And we've had some other changes in leadership. And it's taken a while to really, make sure the buy-in is there and that we're ready. And now they're ready. So I've been able to, it is new. When I say it was 2020 when I presented my business case to the CEO.
Mhm.
So it's pretty new. A business case that I've been gathering and finessing for quite some time.
Right.
And I was in an affirmative action role, which is a compliance role prior to this.
Mhm.
And which is very task oriented. It's very,
Right.
you gotta do this, check, which is not DEI work. It's not what that is.
Mhm.
It's kind of marries it, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
So it took a while, but we're here now. So, and sometimes it takes leadership change. Sometimes it does.
Sure.
You know how that works.
Council, any questions for Ms.
One
Combs?
question you might have is the proposed time for meeting for this, commission is, and it's just proposed,
Yeah.
is 6 PM on Tuesdays, once a month, the fourth Tuesday of each month.
No, that's doable.
Just like to comment, I've seen her work for these years, and she's very, very dedicated. Breaking the glass over there, congratulations.
Yeah, for
Yes,
sure.
Yes.
Thank you, Judy. I appreciate that.
That's all we have, unless you have something else.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Thank you. Short and
Time out of your
sweet.
day.
Yeah, short,
Just
sweet.
let me know if you have further questions, of course. I'm available. And that's it.
Right.
It's a
I look
pleasure.
forward to hearing from you. Who will I hear from? In 2 or 3 weeks, either way.
Yes, we'll, after council will have a special call meeting to go over the appointments and make the appointments, and then we'll be contacting you to participate in the meeting where you would be formally appointed.
All right,
Fantastic.
thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Mhm. Well, thank you for being here today. We have a pretty simple process, super informal. We have 2 or 3 questions we're going to ask you, and then you'll have a chance to ask us some questions. So, question 1 is, tell us a little bit about yourself and why you were interested in serving on this board.
Well, I've been in Temple almost 25 years. We started that in August, and I've enjoyed being in here. I moved here from Michigan, and after some lifestyle changes, I've enjoyed Temple, and I've enjoyed seeing it grow and progress. Been involved in a few businesses in town. I see you once in a while. Work over at Johnny's, and I work at Temple College. I drive all their sporting events, their buses all over the state and country, which I enjoy. I enjoy being with the kids and hearing what they have to say, and not being part of their conversation, but you just pick up things and I go to Unity Church. I'm right now the board president of Unity Church. I have been on the board in the past, been going there for several years, involved in some businesses in town. We had restaurant and food service, manufacturing, distribution. At one time we distributed to HEB stores and also internationally, developed our own food line. I just think it's important when you're talking about diversity and inclusion, and to get everybody's opinion. Everybody has an opinion, might not be the right one, but it's important to listen to them. I mean, over the years that I spent many years in healthcare and had a lot of staff that I supervised, and one way that I found to diffuse things and bring the emotional aspect down was just bring somebody in, let them talk, listen to them. Don't have to say anything, don't have to give your opinion, just listen to them was very important. Sometimes most of the time it would be just letting them get it out. And then you can start finding out where there's common ground and things that you have in common, whether it's business or personal or whatever, but you have a starting point if you can just listen. All too often, I've had, managers and supervisors that the communication is one way only. And it doesn't work that way. I mean, if you want everybody to buy into something and be part of it and contribute and feel ownership, they have to have a voice.
Okay, very good. What skills, talents, or experience do you think you'd bring to this position?
Well, other than my almost 50 some years of being in business and supervising any place from just a few people to over 60 people, in business, you always run into some things that you don't count on. I mean, whether it's staffing and you have problems come up, and they're not really problems, they're just a different way of thinking to solve. And I like to try to think outside the box, as all too often, I know for myself, in my past, sometimes I limit myself to being inside the box, and you've got to be able to step outside that box. You can't stay in the box, because the box has you got walls, so you got to let those walls down to let stuff in and let stuff out. I've managed any place over 60 staff at one time. And I enjoy listening to people. I enjoy participating. I like to give my opinion the way I do it. I mean, and sometimes I have to remember it's not just me, it's everybody. I like to get at times the me in the eye, and you can't get places and make progress and improve things when it's just me and I. It's got to be us and we, and it's got to be a team effort. And I like fostering, a sense of spirit in that team that everybody has. I'll go back to the instructor I had one time was, esprit de corps. Everybody needs to have pride in it. And if everybody can feel some ownership and party to it, they're going to input versus just sitting there and being, a stone in a chair. They all, you want to be it. And I believe I'm very, somebody tells me I'm pretty northern because I am a Yankee. But
This interview's over.
but I don't like
Diversity.
Oh, sorry.
The thing I don't like is when you go to, a meeting and you ask questions and nobody speaks up, and then afterwards, they go out in the hall and kibitz and tell you how wrong it is, that kind of thing. That's not the way to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, and, I'm sure, I shouldn't say that. I used to have things that's like, you get done with like, what did they say? They either not talking at your level or using words that you don't understand. And you need to explain it in terms of, the people that you got, so they need to buy into it. That's the only way you're going to make accomplishment, in my opinion, is they got to buy into it.
Very good. Thank you. Is there anything in particular that you would like this board to accomplish, to be part of?
Well, I guess the first thing is, what are the goals of this board? Other than the name and the words and the title, what does that mean?
So this is a new board.
Mhm.
And we are we back up. So one thing that the city has done, that we're in the process of doing right now, is actually hiring a new person that will be a City of Temple employee that will be the manager of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Now that means a lot. That's some of that will be being sure that the City of Temple's purchasing practices
Mhm.
are in compliance, to be sure that obviously that the employees of the different races, genders, sexual preferences, etc., that they are included. But then also that person will also be in charge of, for lack of a better way of saying it, this DEI board. When I say in charge of, that person will be obviously the conduit between the board and the city. So that person has been interviewed, and well, a number of people were interviewed, and my understanding, and they may have already done it, is they plan to make an offer to someone quickly. So that is, that's all in the works right now. But ultimately, the task of, there will be some charges to that board. But as far as any of these council members having, long running experience with the board like this, we don't. So I think we are as excited about it as you are to see what happens, but we don't know yet. But I guess in that whole diatribe was to tell you that the city of Temple is taking it seriously. And we look forward to getting that professional on board.
Besides purchasing, what else would be in scope of the committee?
Now, the committee will not be, the committee will have a set of charges. Let's see here.
Advise city council
Yeah.
and city staff on policies, program practices, and other matters to build greater equity within the Temple community by promoting equity and eliminating discrimination. They study, recommend, and review policy programs and concepts utilized in other communities, which are designed to promote equity and inclusion and eliminate discrimination and improve quality of life.
Does that answer it?
Yes, that does, because I thought, well, it's just, purchasing, that can be done a lot of different.
No, that's not
That's
gonna be
one
something that
aspect.
the board's in charge of. That's something that the new DEI manager will be in charge of. So, that they will handle those things, but what Ms. Walker, that list she gave you is what the board will do.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
The purchasing part is pretty boring.
Well, it can be exciting, especially when somebody forgets something and they gotta have it yesterday and you can't get it till tomorrow.
Yeah, these days, I see a lot of that.
Do you have any questions for us? Anything else?
I don't think so. I think it's pretty straightforward. It's exciting, that you're doing this to try to include everybody and get as much feedback, because then you can do your jobs better, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna set yourself in a bubble and not listen to anybody or not seek that advice, even if you don't use it, it's still, you can put it away for future use. So I think that's important.
Do you see yourself, I'm not quite sure how to phrase what I'm gonna say, so.
I believe in just say it the way it
Well,
is.
that's part of my problem. Do you see yourself as a generalist in terms of diversity, equity, and inclusion, or do you feel that you represent some group other than white male?
I'm a senior, I'm gay, I believe that, I don't like labels.
No, nor do I, which is
whether
part of
it's-
why I didn't know how to ask that
Whether,
question.
well, you get, and this is always a very sensitive subject, but, it's a racial issue or a religious issue or, an issue of faith. Everybody has some kind of faith. Doesn't necessarily align with what I have. If you don't believe in God, that's what you practice, but it's not my job to convert you, I don't think, or, I just need to put on some glasses and be receptive and open to what you have to say. You still bleed and breathe and, your blood's red, hopefully, and those are the things that count. Race, sexual orientation, whether you're, I can remember when it used to be if somebody was divorced, it was like, okay, go get the scarlet letter out, kind of thing. And that was so, that's not important. There's more issues that are more
Sure,
important.
there are, and you hit the
behind
nail on the
those.
head in your first sentence when you first came in, which was openness. And if you don't have openness, you don't have diversity, equity, or inclusion, regardless of what group you might or might not represent. And I fully understood that. I just wondered if in your mind you felt you
Well,
did.
I think people, there's things that you can say and things that you can't say. Just because of, that's the way, or shouldn't say it. But you might be able to think it, but it's like, that wouldn't be, because I did that, I was doing that yesterday on Facebook, somebody, I was gonna make comments like, well, that would be okay if it was between the two of us in a private setting, but you
Not
put it out
for
on that. No. And, personally, I get annoyed with people that are walking through life with blinders on or not willing to at least have some conversation about something. Yeah, I don't agree with it, but it doesn't mean I'm dislike you or gonna use the 4-letter word hate you. It's important, just be open. Yeah, I don't agree with it. That's okay. Then move on. There's a common objective that we should be working for.
How did you choose Temple from Michigan? Or why? What brought you to Temple?
Business.
Oh, I think you said that originally, yeah.
I had some lifestyle changes. I was a caregiver for my mother. She passed away. I got divorced, and I can use that word, hated my job. Absolutely. I mean, to the point that I probably was going through some depression, didn't realize it. Because when you go home at night and you're driving home and it's like, okay, how fast do I have to go to get in that river?
Oh,
And then, you
definitely
know,
depression.
curtains, and so nobody would know that you're home. And once you got home, you didn't go out. I just was not happy with my life. And I had the ability to come down here. I didn't know what I was going to do for sure. And it's been a blessing to me.
That's wonderful that you found happiness. There's very little that you can't do without some satisfaction and happiness in life.
I had somebody tell me one time, and this was actually at Unity, when I started going to Unity. And it's like, I always said, well, I want to be happy. I want to be happy. And it's like, well, one, you have to let yourself be happy. You can't just go be happy. You have to be okay here. Then you can. But if you're not okay here, you're never going to get there.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
We certainly appreciate you taking time out of your day to spend with us.
Yes,
And your
thank you.
interest.
And your interest,
Thank
absolutely.
you. Thank
I
you.
have one more question.
Sure.
Did you enjoy Trino's for lunch yesterday?
Yes, I saw you actually took somebody there that had never been there before.
Okay.
And it's like, okay, he's gonna have a record day because his beer sales are gonna be like.
With this guy.
Yeah. And because he was wondering, like, okay, how do I go over and use the thing and just forget the glass and
I think they frown on that.
He definitely will be back, and it's fun.
Yeah.
I
As I was driving away, I saw you, Patrick.
saw you walking, well, because we parked away and you were walking down the street.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I'm like,
Hello, that guy.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's the other thing I think it's important is, and forgive me, but I think the personal thing, if you see somebody, not to yell at them across the street, but if you're walking somebody and it's like, I'm very keyed into looks in terms of, I know you and I hear your voice.
Right.
And if I haven't seen somebody for a while, go up and say hello.
Yeah.
It's that personal, to me, that's important instead of a text or a phone call. Phone call's great, but we've gotten so impersonal and it's like, physically connect with somebody instead of doing everything either email or texting.
Right. Okay,
Okay,
thank you, sir.
you're welcome. You two have a wonderful day.
You will.
It's already a great day. We've all sprung forward.
I know.
And I'm assuming everybody got here on time.
Yes,
So
I think
you have a
so.
great day. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Mhm.
And at some point today, would it be possible, since Alan's not here, because what I'm seeing is a lot of people are walking up and looking in the door. Is there a way to put a sign or something that, please be seated? Just at some point, not a big
Yeah,
deal.
I think we have one now.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Come in.
Hi. Mr. Jackson.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing good.
Good. Thank you for coming.
So, Mr. Jackson, I don't think I know you. Have we met? Probably have. You're about to say we have.
Yeah, we,
We met at, Care Network. That's right. That's right. We have met. So I'm Tim Davis. If everybody,
Hi, I'm Susan Long. Nice to meet you.
Jessica Walker.
so glad you're here. We have, it's a pretty simple process. We have 3 questions that we're going to ask you. And then at the end, we'll give you a shot to ask us some questions. So first question is, if you would please, sir, tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're interested in serving.
well, my name is Steve Jackson. I'm also a pastor in Temple. Also a businessman. I own Prestige Beauty and Barbershop. which is old Kelly's. I retired from UPS for 35 years. The last couple of years, I've been going around to different meetings and everything. Trying to see where I can fit in.
Where are you a pastor?
Yeah.
Where?
New Wine Worship Center, you know where the old Temple ISD office is? Right across the street on it.
Okay.
Where Beeman,
Yeah,
Beeman
right.
was.
Right. We were downtown, and that building there was out in Morgan's Point out there next to the barbecue place for like 5 or 6 years. And we own the property, you know, northwest of Hills where the nursing home and the kidney place, that big old land right there.
Yeah.
We own that, and our desire is to build a church there.
Okay. Does that land, that doesn't sit on, Lake Road, does it? It's like one block off,
Yeah, it's not on Lake Road, it's on,
36. Highway 36.
no, it's on, it's
Yeah.
off Airport, but I can't think of the name of the road, right? You know, the funeral home.
Yeah, kind of behind the old Scanio Harbor.
Turn through there,
Yes.
go
Yeah.
all the way down.
Yeah, I'm with
Right
you.
behind Scanio.
Yeah.
Right,
I got you.
so we've been there, and so, you know, I grew up in Temple, had children in Temple, you know, had 6 kids. 3 of them has master's degrees. One of my sons work at Allen as a coach. My daughter works for Edwards in Frisco, Texas. My other son, he went to University of Buffalo, he played football. And so he's the quarterback at Temple High School. And he's an entrepreneur, got his own business. My other son had just, you know, got a factory, had a son pass away a couple of years ago.
Mhm.
And my daughter's a beautician in the shop. And right now I'm looking at a way to try to help the community come together, you know, see where I can help out, blend everything, give everybody an opportunity. By me being a pastor and having a barber shop, I get a lot of people that come in there that don't have no directions, you know. A lot of times it's just simple knowledge, simple places to go, try to help, try to be a blessing. You know, one of the young man's come there and gotten into trouble. Now I'm helping them get in barber school, start barber school, going to church, getting his life together. A lot of them like that, same way in the church. Got a lot of people coming that want you to help, you know, they can help. And I think that now is a good opportunity to, you know, just try to help everybody. You know, try to be included, try to be diverse. Work with a lot of different churches and pastors, you know, and just try to see what it is. I grew up in Little Rock, Arkansas, you know, grew up dirt poor, you know, but I was blessed to get out within the military, got a job. I only had 2 jobs in my life, military and UPS. And so now that I retired for 2 years, I'm looking to get involved more in the community, do more different things, and just try to be a blessing and help and just see where God is moving me at.
Very good. Thank you for that. What skills, talent, or experience do you think you'd bring to this position?
I think I got good leadership skills. I think I got good people skills. Like I said, I worked with UPS for 35 years. And I mean, each day I dealt with at least 100 different people, you know. I've said and organized different stuff. My dad for years was president of the Juneteenth Foundation, you know, and so they did different stuff around the community. I helped him organize stuff, help him go out in the community, do different things, to try to draw people in. I've worked with different pastors. We set up, organize different stuff, go to different things. You know, I even come out and support the CARE, part of the CARE network, and doing different aspects with that. And, you know, just leadership, an open mind, a willingness to learn and grow. And you know, just be able to talk to the people, reach all different type people. You know, diversity is what I'm excited about it because there's some that just doesn't seem to have no hope, you know. One of the things I've done, like I said, at the barber shop, I direct a lot of people to go to different places when I go to different meetings, like, you know, people that don't have no medical, look, go here, go do that. And so a lot of them were concerned about getting a COVID shot. And I talked with some friends of mine, Pastor Beaman, and they're gonna get shots on the 27th. So I was able to tell a lot of them that, look, you can go right down here and get you a shot, you know, for COVID shot. And they were right here, yeah, just go down here with them, they're gonna be giving out a shot. And those are little different things I'm able to do like that. Then you know, we help a lot of kids, we gave them free haircuts, fix their hair, do different stuff like that. And also, like I work with Gil Holly, giving out food, doing different type food. So, you know, I feel like I've been prepared for this all my life. You know, and just I'm an easy learner. You know, I'm the type of guy, I'm slow to speak, and I listen, I watch and observe, and then I move. Y'all see me around a lot. Y'all know I don't do much talking, but I'm listening and watching. You know.
Very good. What do you think you would like to accomplish as a member of this board?
Well, what I would like to do is get a lot of people that I feel have been left out, excuse me, or don't know their opportunities, what they can do to make some connection that they don't know connection. Because if they do better, the community, the city do better. And I think I can, you know, help usher it in, you know, just to a new level, new self-awareness. You know, like I said, I've been working on the east side, that side is growing, there's a lot of things happening, a lot of things available. You know, just tuning into a lot of other different, you know, different stuff and show them, you know, help educate them, maybe bring in some mentors to help mentor them, show them a better way, help educate them, give them an opportunity to maybe make good decisions, you know, show them some options that they haven't saw, just show them that. And I think that I can help raise their awareness, help raise their self-confidence, and, you know, help them believe in themselves that they can go somewhere that it is, you know, they are included, they're not left out, it's just an opportunity. And a lot of times, it's the knowledge is what gives us power. A lot of times we don't recognize what's available, what's out there, what we can do until somebody can give us a word, just one word, one revelation, one place they're doing this down there, doing that down there. It can change a person's life. You know, that's what happened to me years ago. I was heading on long tracks. Somebody said, "Don't you go in the Navy?" So I went down there and joined the Navy. You know, and as simple as that may seem in one day, it changed my life. You know, where a lot of my friends stayed out there, you know, got in trouble. Just that one somebody recommended that I go in the Navy. It's like an aha moment. And that's what I'm looking to give them one word, some revelation that it'd be like a stairwell going up.
Do you have any questions for us?
Yeah, as a diversity, what have y'all been doing for as diversity goes? You know, because, you know, and where did y'all go? You know, y'all might have been, this might be new, or y'all might be going on for a long time. I don't know, but that's what I'm kind of, you know, thinking, you know, because I thought about what have they been doing and what, you know, where y'all trying to take it.
Well, this is brand new.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a brand new board. The city has hired or is in the process of hiring a diversity, equity, inclusion manager.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of the tasks initially will be using that manager's knowledge to bring diversity, equity, inclusion both more effectively into the city of Temple, you know, in the day-to-day workings, but then also to reach out to community members through this board to be able to better reach the what's the right word, what's the right way to say it? The sort of that marginalized part of society that doesn't feel included, like what you're talking about. So, it'll be very busy, board, especially right in the beginning. But the city is hiring a professional at the city level to work with us, so.
And I think Susan mentioned in another interview, this particular group is gonna meet the fourth week on Tuesday at 6 p.m. So I don't know if that's set in stone, but just kind of something to keep in mind if that will work with your schedule.
Chances are it'll probably be 2 to 3 weeks before you hear back. We're interviewing for lots of boards, and then ultimately we'll have to, appoint people to those boards. So we still have this council still has a lot of work to do before we're putting people on board, so.
We certainly appreciate your willingness to come and sit down with us and your willingness to serve.
I'm excited. Also, I failed to mention, I'm a chaplain. I work with Marketplace Chaplain. And they're doing, it's not the traditional type. They may be at a factory out there walking, just kind of ministering to people. You may go to Taco Bell. It's not traditional doing in the church. I've been doing that. But like I said, I'm retired now.
Yeah, a taco and a prayer. I like it.
Right.
You notice that this was your first choice. Would you be interested in any of these boards?
This is one that just kind of, yeah. I wouldn't mind it, any other ones I wouldn't mind. But this was dear to my heart. My son, he went to college, University of Buffalo in New York, and he worked with a lot of the lab stage and different stuff in Buffalo, New York. He did that. And when he come back to Temple, he couldn't get a job because he just, he had a master's degree, he just couldn't get a job nowhere anywhere. But he ended up going to Houston and starting his own business. And, I think a lot of it, sometimes you don't have the right connections. You can't get in. You can't.
He's in Houston now.
Yes. Apparently, he's that way. He was a quarterback for Temple High. So he was with Munson when they didn't win the game. And
What's his first name?
Terrell.
Terrell, that's right.
And he got a scholarship and he went to University of Buffalo. In fact, when he was at University of Buffalo, he would always get in trouble because they wondered how he had such good grades. And, they looked at him as a dumb jock, but I had him in all the challenge class, gifted and talented, but they didn't realize that he was academic All-American too. And so whenever they had those tests, he would always make A's and everybody was getting it. You said, well, how did you get those good grades? He said, well, look at all my classes. And that's one of the things that I'm most proud of with my kids.
That's great.
Very good TISD education, making us look good out there.
When was he a quarterback? Under Munson, did you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, okay. I
My
remember
son
your
was,
son.
was Luke around that time too? I think Brandon was a freshman. That had to be tough.
Luke's
for
senior
him.
year was Spradlin's first year, so
Yeah.
his junior year would have been with Munson.
Now, my oldest son, he was the quarterback with Streeter, Aaron Sauls,
Okay.
and he got hurt. And Streeter got, and that was under Hollis head.
That's a long time
Okay.
ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a good year. The Holland was good.
Mhm.
Didn't stick around, but
Right.
it's good.
So he's a coach in Allen, Texas. He's been up there coaching about 7, 8 years.
In the big leagues up there.
Mhm.
All right, sir.
Thank you.
All right.
Really
then.
appreciate it. It's good to get a chance to get to know you.
All right, then. Thank you.
Thank
All
you
right,
so
we'll
much
see
for
you.
your interest.
All right, then. I appreciate it. I look
You have a
forward to.
good day.
All right, then.
All right. He had a total of 7 applications. Mr. Walker, the guy that was here before, that is Patrick Dean's partner.
I was thinking.
What?
City
Really?
Dean's
Oh,
Partner.
Okay, I didn't know in the business or, because he's much older than Patrick.
Oh, I see. Personal.
Hi, how are you? Good. I'm good.
Hello, Ms. Dawson.
hi, how are you?
We're running just a swing behind. I
Yeah,
appreciate
sorry,
you being
that's
on
okay.
time. So, pretty simple process. We got a few questions for you. Don't be nervous, just fire away. Do you know everybody here?
Yeah, I'm
Do you?
Jessica Walker.
Nice to meet you.
I'm Susan Long.
Nice to meet you. Everybody else.
Kim Davis. Glad you're here. All right, first question is if you would please, ma'am, tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're interested in serving on this board.
Well, I am a long-term resident of Temple. I was excited when I saw it. I feel that it is important because it is diverse here. And I would love to be a part of helping the community in that way.
What skills, talent, or experience do you think you'd bring to this position?
I've been on other boards throughout the community.
Which ones, if you don't mind?
I've been on the library board,
Okay.
Parks and Rec board
Yeah.
for the city, Temple Education Foundation board,
Nice.
Temple College board. I've been a long-term member of NAACP. So I have been in different aspects of the community. And with that, as well as my education and business savvy, I don't know if that helps, but I feel like that would be a contribution to the board.
What would you like to accomplish as a board member?
As a board member,
Maybe a better way to ask that question is what do you feel like Temple needs as far as diversity, equity, inclusion goes?
well, that's hard for me to say because I'm really not exactly sure what everybody's goals are. So I guess I would look at whatever the goals are for the board and make sure that we are implementing everything we can to make that happen. Also, I feel like it would be a liaison between the city and the community. So I feel like we will be able to voice that opinion a little bit better that way.
Through a board formally instead of just as an individual. Is that what you mean by that?
Yes, sir. Collectively.
Mhm.
I should know this and I don't. I'm sorry. Are you on the library board now?
Yes.
You are present.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you finding that effective,
Effective and
useful?
Well, I love the library.
That's different than being useful as a board.
Yes, I like it because I, as a child, went to the library, so I felt that that was important to continue to contribute to. I believe I would probably be dropping off of the library board if I'm selected for this board.
Okay. You don't have time for two or,
Well, I'm already on Parks and Rec as well.
okay, so, all right, got it.
Now, one of the policies that we've put in place is that no one can serve on more than two boards at a time. So, yeah, you wouldn't be the only one. Do you know,
I'm sorry, just look forward to my train of thought. Parks and Rec and this would then be your choices as opposed to library.
Yes, ma'am.
Got it. Thanks, sorry.
she doesn't love the librry like you do. That's what she's trying to tell
I
you.
love the library.
Loves the library.
She is. She knows you're here. Okay. Do you have any questions for us?
How many people are going to be on this board?
You have 9, I think.
Yeah, 9 to 9. And they're not by district, it's just representing a specific category. We just want to make sure that we have a very diverse group for our DEI group.
Did Jessica say about the potential meeting time?
No.
No. The proposed meeting time will be the 4th Tuesday of the month at 6 p.m.
Okay.
Council, what else?
Thank you for coming and thank you for all you're doing. It sounds like you're
Yes.
very connected and involved. And we really do appreciate that.
Thank you. Liz has always done a good job out in the community. Thank you for doing that.
That was short and sweet.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else?
No, not at this time.
I always appreciate somebody with concise answers because I'm not that person. So I always
Bit of a
appreciate
rambler.
somebody that does. I'm sorry. I talk and get my thoughts together at the same time, and that's not a good job. So, very good. Thank you, man. I
Thank
appreciate
you
it.
all.
Uh-huh.
Thank you so much. Good day.
I don't know. You're the first one to ever bring one in.
Oh, yeah.
So, wow.
Awesome.
Well, thank you for coming.
Thank you
Yes,
for
thank you very
receiving
much.
me.
So I know who you are.
Uh-huh.
Please pronounce your last name.
Okay, well, it's changing.
Well, I
So don't
knew
get-
that.
So don't get
Yes.
used to that.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's Ada lot,
Okay,
yeah. But it will be Voice Co.
going to
It's not
what?
much easier.
I know. Voice Co.
Could you have
I
picked
know.
something
I know.
go from one difficult to another difficult?
My name now, or it's VOYTKO, Voitco.
Spell it out like that.
When do you get married?
We are aiming for November.
So what, you have a while to get used to spelling or pronouncing the new name.
Yeah, oh, I have the signature down and everything.
Oh.
Yeah. It's, I cross the T and make an O at the same time, so.
Whoa,
Nice.
whoa. All right, so Elena, this is pretty simple.
Okay,
We basically have 3 questions for you.
okay.
And what we find is as you answer question 1, you kind of answer 1 and 2. So this is just a
Okay.
conversation. So
Awesome.
first question is, tell us a little bit about yourself, and
Mhm.
why you're interested or qualified to serve in this capacity.
Well, I graduated from Temple High School and I
When
moved
did you
with,
graduate?
in 98. I moved with compassion for humanity. I've volunteered in so many different places in Temple, and I believe my asset is to be able to deal and relate with others, meet them where they are, and really just focus on the common goal that we have, while capitalizing on our differences in our gifts and talents to create that common goal.
Would you tell, for my sake, maybe not the others, compassion of humanity, what is that?
Oh, wow. So when I hear the word diversity, I am diverse in my faith as being a believer in Christ. So I look at everyone as made in his image. But what I see is that because there's so many different denominations and there's just so many different cultures and identities, that there's a bridge that needs to be built that says, you know what? We have more in common than we don't.
So often we focus on all the difference, or the one difference versus all the commonalities.
Yeah, exactly.
What, you've already answered some of this, what skills, talents, or experience do you think you'd bring to this position?
Well, I'm certified with Dale Carnegie, training with Austin in Austin. It was really cool, actually. It was an internship that I did with them. And we had to do a millennial conference at the Hilton in Temple. And they said, hey, you're from Temple, get that room filled. Here's a budget. And I went below the budget. By the time I told Dave, what his last name right now, I can't do his last name, David, how I did everything. He's like, are you interested in a negotiation course that we're doing? Sales and negotiation. Each course is $2,000. I was the only one that got offered it, but it's just because my quality is helping people feel disarmed and comfortable.
to be vulnerable enough to open up to find out what is really the problem or the concerns that they have and representing them.
That is a gift.
Yeah.
How long ago was that?
I just graduated 2018 as a single mother of 3.
How
So
old are your kids?
Mary Jane is 18. She just turned 18 on the 12th. Delilah Grace is 13, and then Scott Wesley is 11. Yeah.
House full.
When you say you, the negotiation course, your strength is helping people feel comfortable, and then you represent them. And what venue are you representing them?
It depends on where I'm serving. So maybe they have a concern for something. Maybe they feel left out and they have that sense of needing to feel belonged if it's in a group. Or maybe they don't know how to articulate correctly. So just helping them understand how to approach matters in life, what angle to take, how to read people, and be able to talk in terms that they understand.
Well, how do they get to you, or how do you get to them? What's the process of?
Okay, well, I mean, geez, I spent months at the Well Women's Center.
Oh, okay.
Volunteering, so just kind of meeting their needs, the customers'
I see
needs.
okay.
Yeah. I also have I'm in the beginning of my nonprofit called Lighthouse Ministries. I'm working with some other organizations where we will be taking care of children that are being rescued from sex trafficking.
Mm-hmm.
That is my one and main priority in life ever.
Didn't we worked with some, over, I need words. It's
What about Pegasus?
Yes,
Yeah.
Pegasus. Is that
Where?
the same? Near Pegasus
No.
Drive?
No,
Okay.
because that woman, she had not, at least she didn't articulate any connection to Lighthouse Ranch Ministries.
No, I'm still in the beginning process, talking to someone right now. I have everything I need except the land and the developer. But the way things are going, it's all in perfect timing. So I'm not stressing it. It takes time to do something like this.
Sure.
I have 3 people that want to do equine therapy. I've got a dentist that wants to do pre-dental. Former officers that want to do security. I love talking about it because they're like, here's my card. Let me know when you open. We want to help. So yeah,
That's wonderful.
you know, that is my, yeah. And in addition to that, also I'm certified. I just got my certification with the Secretary of State for a cultural diversity consultants. It's going to be something I'm doing on the side where I will help build culture and embrace diversity in our community. Again, this is a startup company, so I'm just kind of taking things as they come and not stressing out about anything. My fiance would rather me be a stay-at-home mom, but that's not happening.
With 3 kids, been there, done that.
Yeah. Oh gosh, it was, yeah. I was a stay-at-home mom for 15 years. Their dad was military. And we were in Germany 5 years and then North Carolina for 5 years. And there I served as a peer counselor for Life Care Pregnancy Center, where I counseled single moms in a crisis, just to find out one day I would be a single mom in a crisis. So I packed up my minivan with my kids, trash bags of clothes, and drove from North Carolina to Temple. Scott was an infant. That's about 10 years ago. And I had no education, no professional background to fall back on. Although I was family readiness group leader in Germany, I always volunteered. But yeah, so here I am now, graduated, going to get engaged, driving my dream car. I mean, God's good.
Do you have any questions for us?
So I was interested in seeing where you would see this committee in like 2 or 3 years? Like, what's the short-term goal and the long-term goal of how we would be serving the community?
We're still fleshing that out. This is new, so this is a brand new board.
Okay.
We've not, I mean, we have a number of boards that we've had for years,
Mhm.
but this is a brand new one. So the city of Temple is in the process of hiring a diversity, equity, inclusion manager. And that person will obviously have internal goals, being sure that the city of Temple is, reaching out to minority businesses, et cetera, minority-owned businesses. But then also, one of those will be an external goal of reaching out to the community through this board to just to assure that Temple is continues to be, actually may not be now, becomes a place of choice and a place of openness and equity. So really, I'm looking forward to this, to us putting more kind of flesh on the bones. Right now, we're developing the bones of this board, and it will be interesting to see where we go in 30 years. Frankly, if I can just be honest with you. So that's why this board is so important, is because there's a lot of work to do in the next 2 to 3 years. So this won't be a board where you check in, get a cup of coffee, listen to a presentation, and move on out. I mean,
It doesn't sound like your style at all anyway.
Yeah. So if I have an opportunity, not a weakness, but an opportunity of growth, it would be being dedicated to a fault. Like, I'll just say, I'll get personal, like a relationship. Let's say I am determined this is going to work out, and it's just like the hole in the square and they're not fitting, but I'm dedicated until finally God's like, look, flashing billboard lights, it's over, So I like to see things work and get accomplished. Yeah, I know.
And I felt like we started this and I didn't even introduce myself.
I
I'm
know,
Jessica
you
Walker.
guys told me to
I'm
sit
sorry.
down and I'm like, okay, I'm Elena. Nice to meet you.
You
Your name?
too, Jessica Walker.
Jessica. And
Yeah, we've met a bunch of
oh, yeah. Good to see you again.
Oh, I'm Susan Long.
Elena,
Nice,
a lot.
nice to meet you.
soon to be wife.
Yes, I can write it down.
So
Is he as energetic as you are?
we are the opposite.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. He is cool. I am uncool. He's an introvert. I'm an extrovert. He is logical. I am a dreamer. So
I
it's,
think you're a logical dreamer, though.
I like to try to have balance, except for my hair. But no, he's amazing. He's a director for Pizza Hut. And we like donated to Emmanuel Baptist during the storm, and he loves giving to the community. He gives hundreds of pizzas to feed my sheep, I don't know, every week, twice a week. So he's just like, we have that passion to be able to use our resources to bless others. Yeah,
That's good.
he's super cool.
Council, any further questions?
So,
Thank you. Awesome.
Thank you for being here and being on time.
I know.
Very much appreciated. So sort of the timeline
Mhm.
is that we are interviewing for 16 boards. This is our third one.
Okay.
So we still have a lot of interviews that we're doing. And then when all the interviews for all the boards are over, then at that point, we as council sit and discuss and, ask people to serve on different boards. And so really probably the process will be at least 3 weeks
Yeah.
before you hear back from us. So don't think that the silence means anything other than we're just doing our work.
Understand.
Alrighty.
All right.
All right.
It was
thank you,
great
ma'am.
seeing you.
Nice
Have a
seeing you
blessed
again.
day. All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So that is,
Hi,
How are you?
How are you?
good.
Good.
I'm Jessica Walker.
Okay, Jessica.
Jim Davis.
Jean Ross.
And Susan Long.
Nice to meet you all.
Sorry, I was mid-text there. Okay. So I think it was Alexis McBride that had the idea for Grin to rent the laundromats for the high school.
Oh,
Well done.
Right.
very
You've gotten
great
so many
idea.
compliments on that.
Thank
you.
Yeah.
It was Chief initiated telling me like what was he hearing from the community, and I told them that I didn't realize, a lot of people can't wash their clothes because they were without water. And so I was like, it would be really, really great. And they also don't have detergent, the stores were
Yep.
just cleared out of everything. And so he made that happen, and so many people were very, very grateful for that.
Rin said that was the best $2,000 that we spent during the ice storm. $1,000 for each laundromat.
So you're saying Chief Reynolds,
Chief said, what's needed in the community?
Right, I put my ear to the
and
ground.
you told him what was needed.
Yes.
This was just brilliant.
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, so obvious, but basic.
It slipped my mind as well. Like, it wasn't something that I thought about. I asked,
Mhm.
people around who needed it. I'm like, hey, if you need something, let me know. And I realized that was a common consensus.
Yeah.
So it was, thank you guys
No,
for
it
being
was-
willing to take care of the community like that. People were very, very grateful.
Yeah.
So
So Ms. McBride is, we interviewed
Yes.
Bishop McBride.
Yeah.
I think later we're gonna interview your mother for something, Mia.
oh yes, ma'am.
Right.
Yes, that
So the
is.
McBrides are
In mass.
locked and loaded.
Do you also sing?
My mom does more. I do a little. You might know my little sister. Her name's Sammy Jackson. So she sings more as well. So sometimes I do, but
Okay.
I try to get them to.
Stand up, give us your best.
No. See, that's the thing. My mom, she'll blow your mind with that. Yeah, she could, lead us in
Reminder,
the
don't
worship.
ask
I'm not gonna forget this.
She's gonna warn her.
She'll lead you all in an amazing worship before you start.
Yeah, and Grace Temple Ministries also did the COVID shots.
Yes, we were a vaccination
Yeah.
site just Saturday.
How many
And-
did y'all get?
We actually got 315 at the
Oh,
end.
Wow.
And you were scheduled for 270. Your
Yes,
dad
and we
said.
had scheduled for 270, 276 because there were some city workers who needed
Extra,
it.
Yeah.
But we ended up, they said, you don't know how much you're gonna draw, so we had extras and we were able to get 52 extra people on site, from standby. It was amazing.
That's
It was amazing.
wonderful.
Another thing where almost every person who walked out was like, thank you so much for doing this. So to have access to people, we're a community, our church is in the east side area, Temple and Miss Judy's district. And
So
so
the Avenue H in
in
13,
13,
okay.
Avenue H and 13, right there on the corner.
Yep.
And so, that whole community, like just to give them access to the vaccine,
Yep.
they were so grateful.
Yep. And also a water distribution center. So Grace Temple Ministries is plugged in.
Yeah,
Let's see.
very. Always has been.
Well, we're burning your interview time, telling me what a great job y'all have done. So let's.
Okay.
We don't have to ask her any questions. We know.
I know. So we basically have 3 questions, pretty simple. Give us as much or as little, obviously, as you want to. So question number 1 is tell us about yourself and why you're interested in serving on this board.
Okay, that is such a loaded question. My name is Alexis McBride. Even that name Alexis means helper of mankind. And I feel like, I don't know if my parents knew, but I've just been unintentionally trying to live up to that name. So I'm a born and raised Templeite, went to a private Christian school here in Temple, Central Texas Christian. And then I went on to do things like something called Student Leadership University. So it's where students get together and they kind of travel the world, hearing from senators and CEOs of companies and, multi-million-dollar companies and things like that, chaplains, soldiers, just lots of successful people on leadership and how to lead in this world. And so I think that helped me put things in context. And I went on to become into the White House for millennial leaders, so a community advocate. if you will, to the White House. So we do that out of the Office of Public Liaison with the previous administration, but I'm looking to get involved with this presidential administration as well, doing that. And I have served through my church, the community since birth, really, by allowing the community, sharing my experience with the community. And from then on, I've just, service to my community has been modeled to me. And so service and advocacy is my life and what I do.
Is Student Leadership University have a physical location?
Yes, they are physically located out of Orlando, Florida. That's their headquarters. I started the program, so they do 101, kind of like the university. So 101's in San Antonio, Texas, and then they have one in Orlando, but I did San Antonio, and then 201, Washington, DC. And then 301 is in London, in Paris, in Normandy, get to walk the beaches of Normandy, see, the D-Day site and things like that. So just very inspiring. And then 401 is in Israel and Jordan. And so I went through all that as a program and was able to meet some incredible people.
Was that over the summer?
Yes,
Summers?
starting when I was like in 8th grade.
Wow.
Yeah, so the summer of my 8th grade, all the way up. And then I went back and I worked for them during the summers, and I still do that. And they're the ones who recommended me to the White House. So
Who started the Student Leadership University? How did it start?
it's the founder's name is Jay Strack, Dr. Jay Strack, and he was like had a troubled background in childhood and decided to give kids what he calls a 20-year quantum leap to get ahead and to understand and just create people that know that you can go out into the world and change it and dream big. And so I think my mindset has been shaped because of that, that I can go out and it can be me, it has to be us that make the changes we want to see. That quote, be the change you want to see in the world.
What skills, talent, or experience, and you probably answered some of this already, would you bring to this position?
So in every situation you've heard me describe, including Central Texas Christian, the student leadership as a student and as a staff, the White House staff, and all other opportunities that have been afforded to me, I'm often the only Black woman. They're the only Black person at all, and then to be a double minority. And so I oftentimes become the diversity officer, if you will. Even from Central Texas Christian, I could count there. I went there from kindergarten to a senior, graduated from there, and I could count on my two hands how many Black students. And so I would unintentionally become the person that they would consult on things of diversity, inclusion, or the person that would make everyone aware that this is not inclusive, or this is not, I would be that person, including at the White House. So I just am familiar with advocating for the community, with advocating for minorities. And so I think that experience helps me to bridge the gap between different ideas, because I've been around both. So I'm always that person that can bridge the gap and help both sides to understand and come to a central unified ground. I've also watched the bishop do the same in this community for my whole life. Every time there's an issue or things come up, I see him under the radar, it's not known to people that he even does these things, because that's not what he does it for. We jump into action, we help the families, we go to the police and we say, hey, they come to us, they know, even if they don't go to our ministry, they know, come, we don't know what you do, he'll help us. And so I've just experienced that advocacy.
What would you like to accomplish as a member of this board?
I would like to take the knowledge that we have now in the momentum, that everybody acknowledging the effects that racism has had on many lives, and just acknowledging that, taking that new knowledge and creating a city that's good for everyone, that is equitable for all, that has opportunities for all, and where everyone can live peacefully. And I want Temple to be a model city that I can take back to the White House and be like, because, you know, police brutality and some issues of race were the things that I talked about. They didn't have answers. And they were like, well, what do you think we should do? And so I would love to be like, this is what we're doing in my city, and have tons of cities model after us.
Is the Student Leadership University one of the groups that has fostered relationships and conversation between Palestinian youth and Israeli youth?
Now I can't confirm that. I do know that they allowed us to talk to Palestinian and Israeli students, and even, you know, talk to them, and we sat down and just had a dinner. So that experience was one of unity and showing you both sides of a culture that I had no idea about. Jordan or Palestinian and Jordanian
The West Bank issue?
Yeah, I had no idea. And so they could just tell me, explain their whole background. Jordanian students saying like, they are, you know, we have goods and sales that we ship, but they kind of are their goods and sales. So they have to go out and go to the US and they get great jobs so that they can send money back to their countries and things like that. So I can't confirm that.
That's okay.
But I do know they had relationships with the international
I'm
students.
sure they do have.
Yeah, it's a great group.
Alexis, do you have any questions for us?
What are you guys' expectation from this board, the diversity and inclusion board, and what are you looking for in candidates?
I've answered that question about 4 times.
I know.
What do you guys?
You got it, great.
They're like, yeah, do it again.
Yeah. So this is new for us also. And you know why we're here. We're all the things that you've talked about, we're trying to become a model city. We're trying to get better. So it's going to take a while. This board is very important because we have to get open-minded people from many different cultures, many different types of thinking. We're going to have to mold them into one to give the city, to assist the city with marching orders. The city is in the process of hiring a diversity, equity, and inclusion manager that will be an actual city employee. And so the city type work that employee is going to do is be sure that the city of Temple is in compliance with hiring practices, with purchasing practices, kind of being sure that the city is doing the right things on the business side. But then that person will also work with this board. And this board has a long list of to-dos. And we need a professional that can help with guiding this board to getting Temple to be a model place, both for its citizens and for its employees. So there is a lot of, we're starting ground zero, right? And so in the next 2 to 3 years, there's a lot of work that will need to be done. And this board is going to be the first board that is involved with that. So when they say you're getting in on a ground level, you're really getting in.
Right, I know, and it sounds like a daunting task, but I'm really, really excited. I've done so much research and so much knowledge. I forgot to say, my background is in psychology. That's my undergraduate. I'm gonna go on, get a doctorate in neurology. That's my goal anyways. But so I love like data and stats and just research and facts and documents. And so I'm like a junkie in that, right? And so I've just been looking up so many things, and even, I've met with some of the city officials and kind of dumped some of that on them, but I held back so much because I have so much things, and they're just like, whoa, how about this? We've created these boards, and then we'll create that to get things done. And so I'm excited. I mean, even if I wasn't on the board, I would still, work with the board, lobby the board, whatever I need to do. Like, this is the information, share it so that we can get
Well, and
things
the
done.
council is excited about this too. We're not paying lip service to this. This is something that we're going to enact and, for change. So,
I would hope so.
yeah, we're excited about it too.
So I think you had mentioned last time that this will probably be a couple of weeks before we get back with you. So don't think that we've forgotten about you.
Okay.
This is our third of
16, I think.
16 board that we're interviewing for. So
Oh, yes.
we're trying to get our work done, and we'll get back. Just What do you think? April?
Yeah, really, probably 3 weeks. I mean, there'll be a period of silence. You're gonna think.
Yeah, I
We
swear, I
haven't
just hated
forgotten about
it.
So the process is we have to interview for all these boards, and then we as a council have to take a couple of days to sit and discuss the different applicants and appoint people to boards, and then get those boards approved. So the city business, there's steps you have to take.
Absolutely.
It's not fast. So
Oh, Jay,
Thank you so much.
I'm sorry. This is your first choice. Would there be any other boards that you might have interest in?
Yes, like I'm a community advocate, and of course, I'm a double minority, so things that are going on, my research, of course, I wouldn't want to jump right into the diversity and inclusion, but I'm willing to advocate. I think I made around my application, several other boards that I would be
I
willing
had
to.
5.
Yeah, I would be willing to
Okay.
go to, because I want to serve my community. I don't want to let this opportunity pass. And I've been speaking and advocating and pushing others to make change, and then I don't come in and try. I have to, so I would be very willing to serve elsewhere as well.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much.
Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. And nice to meet you guys. I don't even think I formally met you before, Judy, my district. Good to meet you guys. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Good day.
You too.
So
I don't think I've met you before. I'm Jessica Walker.
That's really
Good to see you.
pleasure.
I think you know, I'm Tim. We know each other.
Judy.
Susan Long, it's been many years, but I know you and know of you, and we have met. but it's been a
Okay.
long
Oh,
time.
we have that.
Yes,
Okay,
we
yeah.
have, sometime in the past.
Yes, I'm sure.
He's Mr. Virginia Lee.
I know,
Mr.
I knew that too. He's probably tired of that.
So we were putting, who was who together. So Greg
Right,
is your
brother-in-law.
brother.
Right.
That's
You know
what
Gregory, NAACP?
Yes.
Yeah, so we were putting all those names
you-
the other day, so.
And Gregory is very clear. He did not want to be known as Virginia's brother.
That's right. He's on his own.
She is his sister.
Yes, that's right.
That's the way we
That's a
were
good way
supposed
to
to
be.
phrase it.
We're giving him a hard
He
time.
was very clever about that.
Yeah.
So thank you for applying. This is, I know 15 minutes isn't very long. We've got 3 questions for you. We're just gonna run through them.
Oh,
Give as much or as little detail, obviously, as you would like. So question number 1, if you would please, sir, tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're interested in serving with the city temple.
Okay, my name is Bill Leak. Of course, y'all know me. I'm retired from the civil service government after 35 years. And I was administrator there. And I've been, reason why I like to serve with the diversity of this diversity board is because I've had a lot of dealings in my past with EEOC. I've worked with union and labor, management and labor, and various activities, special emphasis programs with the VA, my 35-year career. And I really like to working with people. And I've in my tenure with the VA, I've been called the go-to person to resolve issues and problems. And being in a supervisory role, I've had that experience in dealing with various issues that may arise, or how to solve and come to the table and deal with issues and complaints and things of that nature. And so I feel that this is an opportunity for me to do things that I really enjoy working with. I've been with the city boards, I think Park and Recreations Committee, I've been a part of that, and various other survey committees I've been with in city planning in the past. So I just enjoy working with these various programs.
You already mentioned some of this, but what skills, talents, or experience do you think you'd bring to the position? I know you talked about a problem solver and supervisory roles.
Yes, I've dealt with the special emphasis program, EEO program at the VA, experience that I have. And also, I've dealt with the various litigations and that's been taking place with the government there. We were able to resolve them between employees and management. I've attended seminars in various cities dealing with stability in the workplace and how to resolve. I would work with the top echelon in the program and training them how to resolve, or bring a workplace stability in the workplace, stability in the workplace. And I've trained in that area there. And so I've gone to various seminars and been selected to be one of the trainers for our facility at the VA. And this is some of my experience in order, and also in management as well. Been able to.
So how long were you with the Temple VA?
35 years.
In Temple the whole time?
Yes, and I've been asked that question a lot of times. How do you do that in one spot?
Yeah.
But I was really actually fortunate. I went in as a part-time person in the entry-level program in the kitchen. Wow. Working in the kitchen and serving food trays. And it was a part-time job. And believe it or not, I don't know, I guess God was on my side. Eventually I was working full-time with Montgomery Wards. I worked in sales too. You're dealing with people and for people have complaints or problems off. So I worked with Montgomery Wards. So what I did was the job came open for a cook, from a dishwasher to a cook. And I took on that job after 2 years, and it was from switching part-time to full-time as a cook. And administration, me having a background working in administration, a job came open in dealing with scheduling. And back in those days, we had the mainframe. We didn't have the Wi-Fi's and all the activities you have today, right? And dealing with that. And so the job that I had taken in administration, I didn't realize how important it was because I dealt with service chiefs and all of the directors and things of that nature there because I was it was called centralized scheduling. And in other words, I had to develop a plan and like I had a low grade and setting up clinic cancellations when doctors were out or taking vacations or service chiefs, different various, I would say over 150 different clinics. And I would have a file. I didn't realize how important it was, but I would meet one-on-one with service chiefs and, high-grade officials. And they liked my process and how I did cancellations for clinics. And that was for Marlin, Waco, and Temple. Wow. And so we were separate entities. And it was all centralized. Having that much at that young age and to realize how important it was and train and developing a system there, develop a rapport with all the service people. They would come to me as I said, used the term earlier, a go-to person, go see Bill. and that spread throughout the mall and Waco and Temple. And then the integration came. Prior to the integration, that's when everything was centralized to Temple. I went to various clinics. It was like what they call a floater. And in other words, I trained in all the major clinics, like your specialty clinics is what we call them, like the urology and nephrology and cardiology. So I would begin with high officials in those areas. And again, when there's something needs to be resolved in training in those areas as administration or clerk rather, they said, go to Bill. He can handle it. And all that kind of spread. So from there, when I got into supervisor position, all those skills and having all that knowledge, I was over the compensation and pension program. And that's when the integration came. And all three facilities came to me. And that was a challenge there. And I had to, hire folk. I had to go to training, and we did planning. We had a simple process on how to build this program that was new to me. And it was good that I had good people working with me in a high level position. And they're like my skills from, prior jobs. And then from there, I was the supervisor for that program. And turnaround time was what they call, was very important in processing disability exams at the VA. And I had a big hand in that because I started out with the turnaround time where the standard was 35 days in processing disability claims for veterans. And so it was at 180 days when they integrated, and that was way off the scale. So I was able to get that program in about 2 years down to 28 days. And so all the accolades that came and said, "Oh, Bill did it,"
We'll give you
But I
a
had
help.
help.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I had to wear that. And from there, you guys not gonna believe this, during that time, I think in the early 2000s, God, I got a lot of history talking. During 2000, they told me, there was a executive director. They had a big nurses shortage, in the nursing field. They needed all the nurses that were working in administration. They had to move them to the floor due to the nursing shortage. And so it was a high grade level, believe it or not. I went in as a nurse administrator. Now, mind me, I don't have any license as a nurse, but I was a nurse administrator. But the only requirement at that time, back in 2000, was to have basic medical background. Well, of course, I worked in all the clinic areas, and I know this, that, and the other. My supervisory role, they put me as a nurse. I had to fill those positions that nurses was controlling. It was amazing to me. Like again, I said, this is God's. It's in the plan. I didn't know this. When I was selected for that position in a nurse administrator, and I teased my wife about it. I said, "Hey, I was a nurse. I had to go to school for it." But this was a program that the VA allowed. Because you were only dealing with basic. If if it was a referral for cardiology, of course, that's dealing with the heart, and that's just basic. And nephrology, and so on and so forth, urology. So if you had that basic, we were already, and you had to show this in your records. I became the transfer coordinator, nurse administrator, and that's dealing with doctors and all. And I did that for 12 years until I retired. And that was something I wanted to expand and grow further. So the question came to me, as you just said, how do you stay in one location in 35 years when everybody normally would relocate to get promoted higher? And like I said, it was just active faith. I was thankful for that. So my wife
to learn too. I mean, that just didn't come by accident, right?
Right.
I mean, you were focused and wanting to move up.
Well, yes, I did. I would tell my wife, I was having a 2-year turnaround in job promotions. I would be in a job for like 2 years, and so I told my wife. I would tell my wife. I said, when I got the nurse job, I said, I won't be that long. I'm only going to do 2 years. Well, I stayed there 12 years. and then during my time, just prior to my retirement, compliance came in. HIPAA law prevented me not having a license to deal with patient transfer. And so when that law came in compliance, all those who worked in roles that required licenses, they sent me a nice pretty letter and say, hey, don't worry about a thing. It's just that the HIPAA law is allowing you to move to other areas. So I went and expanded and moved to other areas. So I felt it was time for me to retire because the job that I had was another building program. And things were changing, the process of changing, I said, I really love it. But I was at to expand, I had to go and do other things, or train, but I was at the highest level I could go. So I was getting old too. But I loved it. I really loved what I did prior to return. And so this is as far as I can go. And I said, I've done a lot of things that I reflect back on my beginnings and where I am at this time. And I thought it was time to go ahead and turn it in. And I really enjoyed it. Being with my wife too, at her retirement, we want to spend time with our grandkids and our children as they grow and, begin to grow old.
Do you have any questions for us?
Well, I've been, like, I know you guys and I'd like to know more about your program that you have now. I think it's great. And I'm glad they are having it. My question is, I'd just like to know a little bit more what your plans are.
Right. Right.
So looking forward to doing.
Sure. Well, and so this is a brand new board.
Right.
So a lot of people sat right there in that chair this morning and said, what's next? And then we say, we're not sure. So the city is hiring a diversity, equity, and inclusion manager.
Okay.
I talked to Brand a couple of weeks ago, and they had identified someone. They were doing the background checks. They were going to make an offer. So that may have already happened. So we may already have somebody on board as the manager. That person's going to have two things. Number one, they're going to be sure the city is in compliance with purchasing practice and hiring practices and things like that. But that person will also lead and guide this diversity, equity, inclusion board, because this person's a professional. This is what they went to school for, what they, what their passion is. So that person will lead this board, which that will be interesting to see. But again, the city of Temple's not had this before. And so it's going to be a heavy lift for the first couple of 3 years, because this board will literally be starting at ground zero.
Okay.
You're used
So,
to that, aren't you?
And I'm very much used to that.
and that's why it's important for the council that we work hard and get, the right focused people on this board, because it's going to be some work for the next, a couple of years or so until we get it up off the ground. So thank you for your application.
Okay.
Thank you for everything that you do for the city.
Oh,
I've seen in lots of places. We appreciate you and Virginia's dedication to Timber.
Thank you so very much. Thank you.
All right.
We appreciate what you guys are
You
doing
bet.
as well.
Yeah, we enjoy it.
Hey, thank you.
You bet.
All right,
Take
thank
care.
you. All right, thank you for the time. All right, you have a great day.
Riley. I was like,
All
anyway,
right,
good to see all y'all.
thank you.
Congratulations on the new home.
Oh, thank you so much for finally.
You moved in
Feels
the
good.
rain, didn't you?
Oh, gosh, yes, it was a nightmare. I have grown more delicate as I age, and it was not my idea of fun. It
Makes you
is,
feel better, it gets worse.
oh, yay. It is on 9th Street, across from, the Castle House.
It's the blue one.
The
with
blue
big
one in
front
the
porch.
middle, so it's not
What's
on
the
the corner.
address?
511 North 9th Street.
Okay, so you're down.
So between French and Elm.
You know the Castle House, right?
Yeah, I do, but I'm
So
not.
across the street is that red brick home that faces 9th. You with me? 2-story red brick. Where Jordan and Cameron lived, the Deans used to live there.
Yeah, so the 2-story red brick, does that house sometimes have like a German flag?
Yes,
Okay. yeah,
yes.
I'm with you.
Yeah, so between those two houses. So we're finally getting settled.
You'll learn, what I've learned just on the north side is it's not always the address. It's like, well, so-and-so used to live.
Yeah.
You remember? So-and-so.
Yeah, so hopefully, once the world gets a little bit better, we're hoping to have a get together of some sort.
That'd be fun.
Well, I gotta go through my garage first, so.
All right.
So we've met a while back, Jessica Walker. When did you graduate?
2008.
In 8, okay. I think my oldest was 12. So
Okay.
Brandon Walker.
Okay.
With Zach Allen.
Okay.
With Alan Rose.
Gotcha, yes. Very cool. Yes, we've met a couple
I'm
times.
Susan Long.
Hi, Susan. I don't know that we've ever met. I'm Jordan Valentine.
No, but I know your name.
Okay, cool. Nice to meet y'all. And then
Nice to meet
Very
you.
good. Tim Davis, we've met. So, pretty simple. In fact, we're running 5 minutes early. So, we just have 3 questions for you. And really, as you answer one, you tend to answer 2 and 3. So, give us as much or as little info as you would like. First off, we appreciate your willingness to serve, as always. It's not paid, right?
Yeah.
No one told me that.
All right, so question number 1 is, tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're interested / qualified to serve on this board.
Well, I think the short answer is, when I moved back here 5 years ago, I had no intentions of staying. I grew up here, moved to Austin, San Marcos for several years. So I was kind of trying to figure out where I was going next. And I ended up meeting my now wife, and we decided to stay here. And I kind of made a deal with myself that if I was going to stay, I was going to try and make this place a little bit better, and specifically a little bit better for, kids growing up here who might be a little different. I think ultimately Temple is a really diverse population. As that population grows, there's going to be a culture that grows with it. And I think that really it's mission critical that we cultivate a culture that kind of aligns with the values and the soul of our city. And, this board really has the opportunity to kind of be a sounding board between the citizens and the city officials. So I think through this, we really have opportunity to create an image of diversity and cohesiveness. As far as the Citizens Police Advisory Commission goes, I spoke at the Michael Dean rally, and as tensions kind of got high within our city, poor Sean Reynolds, I called him. Bless his heart, I called him. I hand delivered a letter. I can't remember if I mailed one too, but I was just like, I got to talk to this guy. It was a really hard week, and he called me back about 5 hours before the rally, and we had this great conversation. And I kind of finally exhaled because I knew that we were in good hands and that we had a lot to be hopeful for. I've been lucky enough to kind of build a relationship with him since that first conversation. I love that he has an open door policy. I love that he's willing to just sit down and talk to people and have tough conversations. So through that relationship with him and just my general passion for, unfortunately, there are underserved and underrepresented communities within our city. And I just think that the Police Advisory Commission is one of the first steps in really kind of putting transparency first, but also rebuilding that trust. I don't think any of us in this room can deny that we've got to make that a priority. So I really am proud that our city is making that a priority.
Very good. What skills, talent, or experience would you bring to the position?
Well, I am a member of the LGBTQ community, and through that, I know firsthand what it's like to be a member of a marginalized community and to be treated differently. So I think that is kind of a unique perspective in itself. Like I said earlier, I lived in Austin for a really long time, lived in San Marcos several years. Both of those places, it's very easy to kind of be unapologetically yourself. And when I moved back here, I had a really tough time because I didn't know how to be myself here. I left pretty much as soon as I could when I graduated. So when we made the decision to stay here, it took me a little bit to realize that I had just as much of a right to be happy and successful in this town. And through that, I kind of, so my career, I'm a strategic marketing consultant. And the big thing I do with any company I work with, the first most important foundational thing is we figure out who your audience is, and we figure out how to communicate with them, how to reach them, and how to reach them and message them in a way that shows how they win by working with you, how their life can be better. And I think that those communication skills are really what we need, because I think that there is a gap in our communication. There has been, with the tragedy that happened with Michael Dean, nothing like that had happened before. We didn't know what to do. That was a horrible position to be in. And so I think that since there are, as I mentioned before, communities that are underserved, underrepresented, I think that we have to have strategic messaging to reach those people and to rebuild these relationships. And I believe that that's something that I can bring to the table. The other part, anyone that knows me knows that I'm just about as tenderhearted as they come. I've rehabilitated every mammal that exists in Central Texas. And a lot of that, I was raised in a family that was, empathy was a very big thing. And growing up here, I would say that it wasn't something that was kind of at the forefront of everything, at least as a kid growing up. I think that that's going to be the driving force that makes us successful, is really creating a place where people want to get to know their neighbors. And you might not agree with everybody, right? It doesn't mean you have to agree, but just being able to kind of meet people where they are and have empathy, put yourself in their shoes. I think that that's kind of where it all starts. And I am, like I said, I'm a very empathetic person, and I kind of pride myself in that.
Is your family still around?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is home.
This is.
Yeah, everybody's still here.
Mhm.
You have a sister,
Mhm.
right, Taylor?
Taylor, yes.
Where is she?
She's about to graduate from Texas State in Round Rock, and she just got accepted into their graduate program for communications course. Yeah, so she'll be there for a couple more years. I don't know if she'll move back here or not. We've been working on it, so maybe.
What would you like to accomplish as a board member?
I think kind of high level, my biggest goal would just be to kind of help cultivate a community vision that, really kind of prides itself with cohesiveness, and just a place where people treat each other with kindness and respect. Another thing is, I think that it's important to me that we kind of identify the inequities within our community. And they're not fun things that anyone wants to talk about, right? But there are shortcomings, and I would love to help identify them, and then ideally help create, community strategic partnerships to address those inequities. Also, just the communication thing. I think that there's tons of opportunity to bridge some of those communication gaps, so that all sides of the city know about city resources, feel comfortable coming to the city when they have an issue. I just think that a lot of that starts with communication.
When you decided to come back to Temple, I mean, you left because you couldn't wait to get out. And when you graduated, lots of people say that about where they grow up. What brought you back to Temple? Just family here or something?
Yeah,
else?
I was kind of in a little bit of a rough spot. I was just feeling kind of stagnant where I was. And yeah, my family was here. So I thought I'll come back, stay with family for 3 months, whatever, and then I'll go where I'm going next. And then
Is Cameron from here?
she's from Salado. Yeah. So she's from the area. So yeah. Then we met and I was like, I guess I'll hang out a little longer. And then, ended up, now I live here. I can't see myself leaving. So yeah.
You bought a house on the north side.
I
That
know.
means you have to.
I know.
The only thing you can do is go to a different house on the north side, but you have to stay here.
I know.
Where Jordan and Kimberly.
Exactly. Precisely. It'll be the Jordan Cameron house for the next owners.
Yes, no, we love our house. I think we'll be there for a while. So, but yeah, I like I said, I didn't ever think this would ever be home again. And now I find myself like, one of my best girlfriends, we had a bridal shower on Saturday and she was in Austin, and the whole day I was just hounding her. I'm like, okay, how can I convince her? It really is. It's just such a great place to live. That was apparent with the recent storm we had. It was so cool to see everybody come together and continue to come together. There's still people that are
Restores your faith.
Yeah.
Community.
And so many communities, as a mayor,
Mhm.
so many communities took a black eye
Yeah.
over that, ran out of water, et cetera. And, we did. These communities did a good job with that. Do you have any questions for us?
So in my research, I saw that the city was hiring a equity manager. So I was just wondering, when that hiring process would be done, when
Yeah.
we get to meet that person.
So that hiring process may be done. I'm not sure. I met with,
Email with all the
Yeah.
proper name, but.
so there was an interview process.
Mhm.
From that, there was an obvious, number one candidate.
Mhm.
And last I knew, the city was doing the background check before they made an offer. And that was 2 weeks ago.
That's
I
great.
missed my appointment with Brenda this week. So that may have already been done. I don't know, but I'll bet that it has been. As long as that person passed their background check. And I don't know, yeah, I don't know anything about that. So yes, that's something that's been done. And, it's important to me that everyone on this board understands that every applicant, whether you're on the board or not, but every applicant understands, every community member understands that this process is important to the city of Temple. Normally there's one, but all 5 council members, this is important to, enough that the budget was rearranged to find a professional to fill that position. This isn't something that we're paying lip service to.
No, that's awesome.
I think that, to sort of pare it back to what you said, everyone deserves to be at a place in their life where their community accepts them. It's okay to disagree, right? You said you've dealt with that.
Yeah.
And that's okay, but it's important that everyone accepts them. And it's important that this council, that we do what we can during our time here, that we move the city of Temple that way.
That's awesome.
So we are on board with that. Again, to the
So with
point.
that being said, it's very new. I mean, we've never
It
done
is.
this before, so.
Yeah. Well, and things aren't going to get fixed overnight, and this is going to be kind of collective healing that takes place over years. And as long as you have a good team doing that, I really do think that you can kind of, I don't want to say fast track it, but just with a business, if you have, the right butts in the right seats, you're going to be successful. So,
Well, the first step is recognition. And I think a lot of times that's the longest step is just to realize that we got to fix this
yeah,
or work toward that. So we're all on board.
that's awesome.
So, yeah, and so this board, it'll probably be 2 or 3 weeks before you hear anything back from the city like that. We're interviewing 16 boards, and this is the third one.
Okay.
So we are doing a lot of work.
Yeah.
So it'll be a while before you hear back from us. But then once the board's put in place, there's a lot of work to be done. And I think that will move pretty quickly.
Awesome.
So,
Great. That's great. Well, I appreciate y'all visiting with me today.
sure.
I hope y'all have a good rest of your
Time out.
We will.
Of course, of
We
course.
really appreciate your interest too.
Thank you. Thank
Very
you.
much.
I appreciate what y'all do. I know y'all don't have easy jobs, and this past year particularly has not been easy. So I appreciate y'all kind of staying to the course and continuing.
We're dedicated to Temple for sure.
The tragedy of the Michael Dean shooting is part of what brought all this to a head, but also in conjunction with that, the previous year, the library had a huge blow up.
Yeah.
Right, and I think that's where I may have met you in the past.
Actually, that I was there. Yeah.
Okay, that's
was
exactly where
that
I
was a
met
really
you.
tough day.
It was very tough.
That was a tough day.
I was the council member, because I'm very active with the library. I was the council member that the city manager asked to get involved with that. And that, some of those rifts within the library have not been healed
Really.
at all.
No, they haven't. My one of my best friends is actually a librarian. She's a children's librarian.
You mean here?
Yes, Candy Flores.
Oh, sure, of course.
She was actually the one that made the.
Yes.
And yeah, so from time to time, I'll ask her about it, and she really, there's been nothing. I mean, there were some really, really awful things that were said
Awful
that day.
things,
And
awful things.
and
And it wasn't just that day. There were
Well, yeah.
multiple other days and awful
Yeah.
things were said.
Yeah.
And the staff was not supported properly.
Mhm.
Because the staff was following American Library Association guidelines.
Right.
Which, how can you be a library and go wrong?
Right, yeah. Yeah, no, that was a really tough day. And honestly, like that day really set me back pretty far. When you had people going up there and equating, calling members of the LGBTQ population like pedophiles and stuff like
Yes,
that. Like
exactly.
it was really, really hateful. And when nothing happened, I really was like, what am I doing here? And it really did get
I
me
felt the
down.
same way. I had
You know,
letters.
Because I didn't feel like that was the city I loved, right? Like I, and maybe I've just been lucky, but even though when I came back, I still felt weird here. No one had ever been that ugly. And to see that many people gather there and so many people saying so many hateful things, it was just like, oh my gosh. Yeah, it was very heavy, but.
As a council member who supported the library staff and support the diversity very strongly, I got lots of letters saying that I was a pedophile because I supported
Yeah.
things. So I understand exactly what you're saying. And we look at this as a very important new commission. But I think we all have to acknowledge the fact that as long we believe we're doing the right thing, and it will be the right thing. We want to set Temple up as a model place, if you will. But there are plenty of people that live in and here and in and around who will see this as something terrible to set up and do.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's true. And I think that's kind of where communication and empathy comes in. You have to have hard conversations, and it doesn't mean you have to yell at someone and point your finger and say, you're dumb or you're bad or whatever. But sometimes you have to have those conversations where you just hope that someone will try and put themselves in your shoes and you have to do the same and understand that everyone has experiences that led them where they are. But I really do believe that Temple is on the path to creating a more cohesive city where everyone feels welcome and everyone feels like, they have a part to play in the growth and success of Temple. So I think we're headed there. I'm hopeful.
I do too. I think we're headed there, but I think we have to be realistic at the same time. You
Yeah.
clearly are.
Yes. I mean,
And I think everybody in this.
yeah,
room is.
I mean, I think, I don't know if y'all gotten any backlash, but I kind of wondered that if there had been any
I don't think
backlash
we
on our
have
board.
yet.
One thing I've learned in politics is people have a hard time staying angry long enough
Mhm.
to sustain.
Oh,
So
some of
that
those
was-
people were born angry and they are still angry.
Yeah,
Admit
you
they
know what,
discover
though?
all
I mean,
this,
you're-
they'll be outside
But
that.
those people,
Mhm.
I mean, it is what it is. And you.
He's a positive person. He sees the
Yeah.
glass going up, I see it going down.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm cynical about that. There will be ups.
There's always complainers.
Yeah. It's true, really, I mean, like Temple, as long as Temple's doing their best to lead by example, that's, that's all you can do. I mean, that is one of the first steps.
It is, you're absolutely right.
So,
We're willing to learn. That's one thing I appreciate about this council and pat ourselves on our back is that I think that we when a mistake is made, I think we own it,
mhm.
and we try to work through it.
Right. Yeah, you have to be proactive,
I mean, well, we want to represent all of Temple.
Mhm.
And I think we dropped the ball with the Michael Dean situation, and we admit it.
Mhm.
And, we've had our issues, but we'll own up to them and we'll try to fix it later.
Yeah.
And that's what this DIY.
Close.
D's and I's, I don't know. That's what this DEI,
Acronyms,
I don't know. That's what this DEI initiative is for. It's just, it's okay. We'll work, we'll change, we'll work through it, and hopefully we'll come out, better on the other side, so to speak. So,
Well, and just the fact that this is happening and that people in our community are knowing about it. It's not just about adults. It's about kids knowing that adults cared enough to put this board in place.
Right.
There are kids who, are underserved, underprivileged, who are, don't, maybe they're in a marginalized group, but they haven't told anybody. The fact
And
that.
very frightened.
And they're scared, and the fact that adults are stepping up and saying, we're gonna make sure that everyone knows they have a place in Temple. I mean, that's kind of life-changing stuff. When I was in high school, like I said, I left as soon as I could, So I think that this is much bigger than just for adults. This is setting an example for our kids coming up that they have a place in this community, they can be leaders, that they can be successful, they can be happy, and that they have every right to that. So I'm super, super grateful to have people that think that's important leading our city.
Yeah.
So,
Very important.
When you
Any
talk-
questions? Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no. When you talk to Candy,
Mhm.
I have expressed my unhappiness at what happened. I think Candy knows that. Would you make sure that she knows that the whole council is behind supporting this diversity?
I will.
And it's going to be important to bring this. We haven't met with people applying for the library board, but this is, and I don't know how we're going to address this with the library board. We haven't talked about it as a group, but we will before we sit down with those people. But that's something that we've got to talk about because the board itself was not supportive of the staff at the time. And
Right.
I'm not trying to be critical of individuals, but we have to address it.
Right. No, I will.
Good.
I'll call her and tell her that you said
I haven't seen her for a while because who can get in the library?
She's living in Ding Dong, Texas right now. She got married.
I knew she got married, but we still have.
Yeah, she's
her.
still at the library, but
Yeah,
we
I
just
do.
were like, can you move back to Temple? Why are you?
That's actually the name of a city.
Yeah, yeah. Very
Come
good.
on, people.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
I mean, a little more imagination.
I know.
Naming a town.
I don't know, it's kind of cool. Hey, dog. You know, it's kind of, I like it.
Yeah.
It's different.
Do you have anything else for us?
I don't, thank y'all, appreciate it.
Thank
We'll
you.
see y'all
Thank you
soon.
so
Good to see you.
much.
Good to see y'all. Y'all take care.
Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So are we off now?
Do you feel Holly not coming?